In 1570, after the short-lived war, Martin de Gotti and Juan de Salcedo came in with the natives and set up the capital of the new Spanish colony. By 1571, I built the fortress that served as the center of political, military, and religious power of the Spaniards. This was during the time that your country was colonized by my people. As a result, our influences were completely retained. This Great Wall was later came to be known in the year 1590 and until the end of the 18th century. If you still don't have any clue to whom I am, well then my name is Gobernador General Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, and I am responsible for the construction of Intramuros. I am also known by the aliases El Aledentado or El Viejo, which means the elder. I first settled in the southern part of the Philippines and heard of the rich resources found in Manila, so I decided to set an exploration trip to the northern region. When we arrived, we sought to control the land and the settlements. As the result, quarrels and misunderstandings erupted between Muslim natives and us Spaniards. After several months of warfare, the natives were defeated. We made a peace pact with the Muslim Tribal Council, who handed over Manila to us. On June 24, 1571, I declared the area as the new capital of the Spanish colony in the Philippines. The King of Spain, King Philip II, was delighted at the new conquest achieved by myself and my men. So I awarded the city with a coat of arms and declared it Ciudad Insigne y Siempre Leal, which means distinguished and ever loyal city. I, Jose Protasio, Mercado Rizal, E. Alonzo Riolonda, was accused of starting a rebellion, sedition, and conspiracy, and now I am sentenced to death. I was brought here to Fort Santiago in Intramuros, and I was kept hostage for these accusations. I am going to write my last stand against the Spaniards, and I will write my last farewell. I say farewell to my beloved land, and to all the people that I have loved. I see the color in the skies that announces that the day had finally came to an end. After that, a gloomy night. I am going to die, trying to give you your life. I pray for all those who have undergone torment and tortures, for the children that became orphans, and the wives that became widows. Farewell to you, my friend. Farewell to all whom I have loved. As the day came, they pulled me out of the dungeon. I started to pray. I walked to where they were going to take my life away. I stood with the firing squad behind me as I prepared myself to embrace my fate. And for the last time, I took the chance to let them see that this is not the end. Just when they were going to shoot, I looked back at them and think to myself, my story won't end here. True enough, today I am recognized as a national hero, a martyr, and a true Filipino nationalist. My story might fade, but will never be forgotten. What I did in the past shall never perish and will be forever in the hearts of the people I've touched. On December 30, 1896, moments before his execution, Rizal asked for some request on the manner of how he'll be killed. He asked not to be blindfolded, and our general agreed with that. Rizal also asked if he could face us when we shoot him. But our general disagreed, saying that that's not possible. I have orders to shoot you in the back. Rizal informed our general where we should shoot. He pointed out with his elbows and his shoulders to indicate where we should aim to hit his heart. Our general asked Rizal if he wanted to kneel, but he said no. I'll stand. Me and my fellow Filipino soldiers of the Spanish Army were the ones who were assigned to shoot Rizal. A backup force of regular Spanish army troops stood ready to shoot us if we failed to obey orders. As I heard Rizal saying his last words, "Consummatum est," which means it's finished, a cold sensation ran down my spine. After a minute or so, our general gave the signal to shoot Rizal. The impact of 8 bullets found their mark. He fell down, facing up, facing the sky. Afterwards, we Filipino soldiers, together with the regular Spanish army troops, were the ones who buried Rizal in Paco Cemetery in Manila. Sadly, with no identification on his grave. The La Solidaridad newspaper served as a principal organ of our propaganda movement, which lasted for over 5 years. I founded La Solidaridad along with my fellow ilustrados, namely Jose Rizal, Marcelo H. Del Pilar, Mariano Ponce, Antonio Luna, and many more. This occurred after the execution of Gumburza. The tragedy of Father Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora sparked our revolution. We have to stand for ourselves, and enough is enough. The head of our propaganda is the cousin of Jose Rizal. His name is Galicano Apacible. By the way, I'm Graciano Lopez Haina, and I was the executive editor. Rizal was offered a position, however he declined because of the duties he had still in London. We published not only articles and essays about the economy, cultural, political, and social conditions of the country, but also the current news, both local and foreign, the speeches of prominent Spanish leaders about the Philippines. Our aims were simple and non-violent towards the Spaniards. We only wanted equal rights between Spanish and Filipinos, that were considered as part of Spain, and our freedom of speech. The first issue was published on February 15, 1898. Although later on, I was replaced by my friend Marcelo Del Pilar on around October 1889. He managed the newspaper until it lacked funds for publication. On November 15, 1895, the newspaper stopped publication. The galleon trade, which I started during the colonization of the Philippines in 1565 and lasted for 250 years, was responsible for transforming Manila into a trade center for Oriental goods. I brought it across the Pacific in exchange for odd-shaped silver coins called cobs or maquinas. Other coins that I followed were the Dos Mundos or pillar dollars in silver, the counter-stamp coins, and the portrait series. In the 18th century, the royalty of Spain authorized the production of copper coins by the Ayuntamiento or Municipality of Manila, responsible to the acute shortage of fractional coins. These were called barillas, which first appeared in 1728. In 1852, the first banknotes, called pesos fuertes, were issued in 1861. The Casa de Moneda de Manila minted the first gold coins with the words Filipinas inscribed. Filipinas as in letter F. On August 23, 1896, the cry of Balintawak, headed by Andres Bonifacio, signaled the start of the Philippine Revolution. After General Emilio Aguinaldo's proclamation as the President of the First Philippine Republic, 2 types of 2-centavo copper coins were stuck in the army arsenal of Malolos. Because their mintage was so few, they are considered extremely rare collection. Paper notes were also issued but the circulation was limited because the government was short-lived. Synthesis. To summarize all stories and events mentioned, it starts off with the story of Intramuros and how it was built to be the center of political, military, and religious power of the Spaniards. How Miguel Lopez de Legazpi was responsible for the construction of Intramuros and at the same time declared the area as the new capital of the Spanish colony in the Philippines. We've also mentioned the story of Rizal's execution, wherein he asked not to be blindfolded and to face the soldiers before they shoot him. But they couldn't because they were ordered to shoot him from the back. 8 shots were fired and Rizal's last words were "Consummatum est," which means it is finished. He fell face upwards, facing the sky. This showed his bravery and courage for his fellow countrymen, not to mention the love for his country. Moreover, we also indicated La Solidaridad was the principal organ of the propaganda movement. This movement was initiated by the death of Gumburza. Daciano Lopez Haina and his fellow Ilustrados showed their intellect through literature in fighting for their rights. And lastly, the story of money, which started off with the galleon trade, which began during the colonization of the Philippines in 1565, was responsible for transforming Manila into a trade center. Andres Bonifacio signaled the start of the First Philippine Revolution after General Emilio Aguinaldo's proclamation as president of the First Philippine Republic. 2 types of 2-centavo copper coins were stuck in the army arsenal of Malolos. And because mintage was so few, they are considered extremely rare collections still today.